Yellow!
Hey bud, what's up?
Oh, just getting going here.
Place a disaster?
Oh yeah, big time, bud.
Let's make this happen.
Sounds good.
I'll be up front. Bye.
Let's go to the McDons house. Let's go to the McDons. Let's go to the McDons house and play some songs. Let's go to the McDons house. Let's go to the McDons. Let's go to the McDons house and play some songs.
Thanks, everybody.
King
It's Ryan's spot of the week. It's Ryan's spot of the week.
So there's a lot of creepy stuff in the world today. I mean, think about it. We got serial killers, carnies, the guy running the Gravitron. I love that ride. Carnies are pretty creepy, but we're not going to talk about them today. Brussels sprouts, probably one of the creepiest things that exists on the planet. Steve Buscemi, just look at that guy. It's pretty much as creepy as he gets. Then it all comes down to the mother of creepy and what I want to talk about today, and that is the Mothman. So Mothman, picture Batman, except from what we know, Mothman's parents, they weren't murdered when he was a child. So he doesn't have all that hate against criminals. We don't really know that much about Mothman, but he's way friggin' creepier than Batman, with those big bastardous red eyes, and supposedly he's got no neck. He's about 7 feet tall. Some people say that the Mothman, he comes around or creeps around when there's an impending disaster. The collapse of the Silver Bridge in West Virginia, Point Pleasant, in '67. That's when all this stuff went down with the Mothman. But there's been reported sightings of Mothman with 9/11. It's possible that Mothman could have been shooting the shit with Osama bin Laden and other terrorists and the terrorist organizations. Owen Hart and his devastating death. Some people believe that Mothman had something to do with that, and maybe he was there and he was trying to warn Owen Hart, that the cable was going to break or whatever. No one would take heed to the warning. Vince McMahon just wanted the show to go on because he's a money-hoarding son of a gun, and that's all he cares about, is running the show. And I just want to put that out there. I love you, Blue Blazer. You'll always be the king of hearts, baby. Basically, 1966, two young couples, they're hanging out. They're from Point Pleasant, West Virginia. I think I said that right. And they're just ripping around in their car, probably having a couple of road pops, and they're hanging out near this abandoned TNT, ammunitions factory, and they realize there's this friggin' weird red-eyed reflection up in the pole, and then they see a body to it, and it's this massive friggin' creature, 7 feet tall, and the thing is looking at them, huge wings. They get ready to start pooping their pants, and basically, they take off back to town, essentially at the same speeds that I'm driving to Wendy's drive-thru on a 30-minute break from work. They're hitting speeds up to 120 miles per hour, and they're scared for their life because this creature's chasing after them, flapping his godforsaken wings, these big, huge red eyes. And this is one of the main first stories that exists, and it's friggin' creepy as frig. So the second sighting that I want to talk about, is this woman, Marcella. Now imagine you're at home and it's early in the morning, you're opening the door to hawk a nasty old morning lug out the door, and bam! You see this friggin' creepy creature creep up from the back side of your car, and maybe it's possible that this Mothman creature, he was just frigged and he wanted to ride. Maybe his wing was frigged, and he was gonna be nice about it. He's just gonna ask you, hey, can you give me a drive? I know I'm a Mothman, kind of weird looking, and probably gonna eat your babies, but maybe he was just siphoning gas from the vehicle. That's possible. Maybe Mothman knew that in the future the gas prices would be so ridiculous, that you may as well just not even drive, and he's just stocking up on gas the whole time. That's another possibility. But this woman, she sees this thing, and it scares the living bejesus out of her. She freaking collapses on top of her child. She thinks, oh my god, my kid's dead because I just fell on the kid. And she was probably, a good-sized lady, and the kid's like 4. So she's just smothering the kid there. She says she sees this friggin' creature, huge eyes, kind of like no neck, kind of like this, you know, looking at her, big old friggin' wings. And then she swears that she heard it take off, fly away. So she thinks she's safe. She's like, oh, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, we're safe. You know, and she goes into the house and boom, the thing's back, creeping on the step, looking in the windows, creeping the hell out of her, calls the police, police show up, the thing's gone. There's a report where 2 firemen, they seen the creature, you know, early on after the sightings happened. Huge creature, burning red eyes, you know. Firemen don't lie. They extinguish flames. All right, they got better things to do with their time than make up stories about Mothman creatures. They got lots of stuff to do, you know, putting out fires, saving people, and making calendars for the ladies. What really gets me is when you go on the old crack tube and you watch some of these interviews and these documentaries with the people who've seen the weird creature. I mean, you can see it in their eyes. They're friggin' terrified. I mean, this is 40 years later, and the old woman's just shaking, tearing up, telling the story. And she's telling you that she was the most scared she's ever been in her life, you know? And these things have been around for a while. I mean, not just since '67. We got Native Americans calling it the Thunderbird, you know, in old stories. In the Orient, we got it, the Kurada. We got reports in 1880 of a strange flying man seen over the Coney Islands in New York. And then you got the Houston Batman. You know, these are all stories out there. Thunderbird sightings in Pennsylvania. But I don't think that a crane, all right, we're talking about a bird that it's just eating fish, is going to be chasing your car, all right? Why the hell would it would go fly away from your car? And I don't think a crane's going to be creeping in windows, okay? I'm going to creep in your windows, not a crane. So you got to think like a crane's just going to be hanging out eating fish, and you go drive up to it and it takes off because it's scared. So to me, the Mothman, it just makes it seem even more credible when you think about that. And the mystery continues.
It's Ryan's spot of the week. It's Ryan's spot of the week.
Get your own fucking band.
Marx made a list of the best albums in the history of the human being. Records we all should talk about. An album we could all listen to this week.
Alrighty, here we are. We're right back. And if you notice, it's right back at you time. Because the last week we friggin' had number 29 being the Book of Talisman by Deep Purple. Now we have Deep Purple by Deep Purple being number 30. So we're splitting hairs here because I always thought that album was the better. But you know, when I thought about it, Talisman won over because of side 2 and all that. So what the hell are we going to do about this? Well, maybe I'll tell you a little story. Because basically, when I first heard this, okay, I first heard Deep Purple in late 70, early 71 at the In Rock album, which is a really heavy album. And then my brother went to Montreal in early 72 because we used to live there and he was missing his friends, so we wanted to go up and have a trip. So he comes back with 2 more Deep Purples, Fireball and this album. So when we listened to Fireball, that seemed like a logical progression over In Rock. But going back to this one, the hell's going on? It just didn't even sound like the same band or nothing like that. So I was flipping major. But I come to realize that this is the true. You know, it's not all that heavy stuff that people are talking about. It's the antiquate, nostalgic, friggin' 60s Deep Purple that does it. So what are we going to do here? Well, might as well just talk about the record a little bit while I go blank. So Chasing Shadows is where it starts. And incidentally, Chasing Shadows is the 27th best song in the history of the human being. So that song, Chasing Shadows, has one of the wildest rhythm patterns by Ian Paice ever. You'll know why Ian Paice rules the world once you hear this. And he based that rhythm pattern on a nightmare John had been having reoccurring. So that's how that song came out. John wrote the lyrics, Rod Evans sings them incredibly. In fact, to match Ian Paice's rhythm pattern, you ought to hear Nick Simper's bass line on Chasing Shadows. It would probably go down as the best bass Deep Purple song ever, but that's an argument, I think. So there we go. And like I say, Rod Evans sings the lyrics incredible. And Richie Blackmore is like Zorro on Chasing Shadows. I'll tell you, although, does Zorro slash or does he poke? Well, anyway, if Zorro slashes his name into stuff, that's what Blackmore is doing under this song. And in fact, the guitar solo on Chasing Shadows would rate as probably one of Richie's, well, it would be probably in the top 5 of Richie Blackmore solos out there. So there we go, that's the starting of the album right there, Chasing Shadows, number 27. Then we jump to Blind, the second song on this album, which is the 34th best song in the history of the human being. John Lord's on harpsichord, and it brings out a color of a shade of Deep Purple that I never thought possible. Incredible. John wrote that one all by himself. Dear John is Gone. Then they jump to a cover, which it's common for old Deep Purple because that's how you got on the radio. You had to do covers because they weren't known. And thank God they didn't do another Beatles song because, you know, we're sick of the Beatles. But they chose a Donovan song, and not even the best, or really a great Donovan song, La Leña. Very, very mellow, and actually Deep Purple make it mellower, which is, you know, kind of a juxtaposition, I guess. But my God, even though it might be considered might be the weakest song on the album, there's something about La Leña that if you know loneliness, like I have on occasion, that song should speak to you. The next song, Fault Line, is the most psychedelic of all Deep Purple songs ever. Psychedelic and Deep Purple don't really go, even though Deep Purple is named after acid. Well, no, it isn't. It's the Nino Tempo and April Stevens. But whatever, it's one of the two. Anyway, Fault Line was recorded in, I think, California during an earthquake. That's why they called it Fault Line. The next song, which actually Fault Line acts as an intro to, is called The Painter. Little story about The Painter. A band from Moncton called the Blue Notes in 1970 or 71 used to cover The Painter. Don't know really the guys in the Blue Notes. There might be a guy named Paulie, but I know that Bryce Sinclair was the keyboardist. Okay, that's side 1 of the 3rd Deep Purple album, which incidentally is the 3rd best Deep Purple album. Isn't that cool? So there you go. If we flip it over to Why Didn't Rosemary, song 1, side 2. And boy, that song has quite an interesting lyrical connotation to it. I almost wonder if they ever did Why Did Rosemary live. Yes, sirree. Great song. Not easily understood, but a great song. And then the next song after, Bird Is Flowing. another incredible Deep Purple song. There's just no ending here. And yeah, Bird is Phone. I should probably talk more about it. There's a demo version of it that was available as a B-side, and it's such a good song, I guess, that the Mark II lineup even re-recorded Bird Has Flown. So that song had a bit of legs to it. Then basically the finale of the album is a song called April. It goes on for over 10 minutes. A lot of people say it's one of Deep Purple's finest moments. I beg to differ with that a bit, but it's the second time they brought in the orchestra. And it's definitely, they used the orchestra well this time on April. So my goodness gracious, I'll tell you, you know, I'm a little at loss, but I just want to talk through the album because it's that good of an album. And it's friggin' Deep Purple and in a different light totally. I should almost show you the gatefold, but you know, we'll let you find that one out if you're interested enough. So let's see, what else do we talk about here? There's got to be more, but maybe there isn't. Because we talked about the Incidentallys already. Talked about Fault Line as being one of the best psychedelic songs ever. Okay, so April was also a B-side, but where April's over 10 minutes long, it was an abbreviated. It was called April Part 1. So there we go. That was the B-side of Hallelujah. Bird Has Flown was the B-side of Amaretta. So there really was no singles off this album. And it's, yeah, holy shit. So I guess that's all I can really say, but as we're getting to the end of this thing and we go for the big zoom, I want you to focus in at the top part of that album cover. Because if you notice, this album cover here is Garden of Delights by Hieronymus Bosch. And if you start to go way up here, you'll be reminded of the second best album in the history of the human being, which is Celtic Frost, Into the Pandemonium. Well, that's the album cover to that right there. So there's a little trivia here. So I guess great albums use great artwork, and there you go. Deep Purple, the 30th best album in the history of the human being, and the third best Deep Purple album, featuring two incredible songs. And there you go. Richie, Rod, Ian, John, and Nicky.
Mark's made a list of the best albums in the history of the human being. Records we all should talk about. An album we could all listen to this week. Let's go to the McDons house. Let's go to the McDons. Let's go to the McDons house and play some songs.
Thanks, everybody.